Hello everyone and welcome to my barn tour. We got home from Guama on Sunday, and whilst we were sad to be leaving, we seemed to have timed it right as the tropical rain had just started. If you haven't seen my holiday vlog where we rode these incredible Arabian horses, you can find the card in the top right hand corner or linked in the description. Shout out to today's sponsor, who is Flickers. Flickers is a top tier member, and one of her perks is to get shoutouts in videos. If you'd like, you can check out our 5 different membership plans to help support my work. As some of you know, me and Queasy are currently boarding at the Macfarlane Ranch, and a lot of you have been asking where it is and how to get there. The ranch is situated in the east of New Austin in Hennigan Stead, very close to the border of West Elizabeth and south of Tall Trees. It's about a 30-minute drive from the town of Blackwater. It's a perfect location, in my opinion. With beautiful hills and a river just down the road, you can easily get to a cooler climate if that suits your fancy, and there are stunning rolling fields perfect for a good gallop. Of course, one of the main downsides is the constant dust. But if you can withstand that, Macfarlane is a great place to board your horses. Here is a really rough overview of the ranch. The footage isn't great because my drone was at maximum height and the signal was really weak, but it did the job. On the top right hand corner there's the main entrance, and next to it is the Macfarlane farmhouse, then the lodges, and above the lodges is where the main boarder's paddock is. On the bottom right hand corner there's the cow paddock, chicken coops and me and Queasy's paddock, and over on the left side is the main stables, round pen, arena and tack room. There is actually a lot more land owned by the ranch, but they are beyond the train tracks, and that's only really used by the ranch hands and their horses. Oh, and the cows too. There are actually 3 entrances, but we'll be starting at what I call the main entrance. This is where most of the vehicles come through and the way most visitors get in, since it actually faces Blackwater. There is also a road that comes out of the stables and around the boarder's paddocks that joins with the main road, so this entrance is rarely used by riders. The main entrance has this wooden bridge, and it's sturdy and wide, but if you have a spooky horse or one that's not used to it, it could potentially be problematic. Then again, it could be really nice training for your horses if you want to put in the time. After you come through the main entrance, on the right hand side is the Macfarlane's farmhouse. We pretty much never go inside unless there's a party hosted there. Round the back of the house is the only place where the ranch grows crop. I'm not sure if it's corn or something, but they grow it for fun, as their main income is actually animal husbandry and not agriculture. Across from the farmhouse is this really nice place to hand graze horses. It's not an official paddock, but with supervision you can bring horses here to graze. It has a nice bit of shade and a place to hitch horses too. We don't use it that often, but if you follow my Instagram at Abigail Pinehaven, you might have seen this adorable photo of the boys and Nikita grazing here. Along the path on the right is the cabin houses. Usually they're reserved for on-site ranch hands, but Queasy, with her magnificent persuasion skills, managed to get us a part-time cabin. We don't live here all the time, but if we're doing intensive work with the horses, have shows or events, or just need to be up really early, we stay there for however long we need. Queasy actually spends more time here, as she also does lessons and horse training for her clients occasionally. Also, the cabins don't have running water, so it's not our preferred place of stay. Round the back of our cabin is actually the boarder's paddock. All of the boarding horses stay here. At the minute, they're lucky that all the horses get along, so they don't need separate paddocks. However, when they're all out at the same time, they do usually have a ranch hand keeping an eye on them. Jericho, Nikita and Gizmo, who are me and Queasy's horses, I'll go into that in a little bit, don't usually stay here as they can be a little bit of troublemakers in such a big herd, so we actually have them turned out in a paddock near the cow barn that is reserved for just us. Going back past the cabins, on the right hand side of the path is our tack room. Well, sort of. As you can see by the sign, it's actually a blacksmith's, or at least it was. It's probably one of my least favourite places on the ranch since it's in a bit of a state. The saddles and bridles are kept here, but so are the on-site farrier's equipment, the blacksmithing station, the workbenches, and all of the wagon equipment. It's definitely not the aesthetic I had hoped for, but it is a working ranch after all. They have all sorts of stuff in there, from driving harnesses to a fire that's on 24/7, metal ingots, loads of tools, barrels of stuff, and in a small corner there are the saddle racks. The saddles that you see there are actually the ones that belong to the boarders of the barn. The ranch hand saddles are kind of all over the place. They seem to all have a special location for their saddles, but this is the one me and Queasy use as well. With that out of the way, we come back onto the main path, and over to the left is the chicken coop and the cow paddock. Now, usually I love free-range chickens, but apparently Jericho doesn't. He spooks at them, and he can also get kind of aggressive if they come too close, so I do tend to have to herd them into their coop if I have to go get him from the paddock or ride past. Most of the time, the cows give us no bother at all, and tend to be quite friendly. With Macfarlane being a working ranch, they actually still have cowboys of a sort. They take the cows out of the dusty pen and herd them onto one of the fields to graze during the day. They use what I call the back entrance that crosses the railway tracks. We only really ever use this entrance if we are travelling into New Austin or doing a short trail ride. It's used quite a bit by the ranch hands for obvious reasons. But don't worry, the trains only come through once or twice a month now to drop off and pick up supplies. I've seen the cowboys going in and out quite a bit, and the guy who was doing today's herding let me film some of his workday to show you more of the land. It's incredible the difference between the ranch hand horses and the boarders' horses. These guys aren't afraid of a 700-kilo animal, but my Jericho will spook at a puddle. However, these horses work very hard, and many ranch horses are trained and ridden with very outdated techniques. Fear not, Macfarlanes take pride in their horse care and more progressive training methods. Now onto the very exciting part, the actual stables tour. The stables are right across from the cow pen, and I'm starting over on the further side because this is Jericho's stall. Jericho is my 8-year-old thoroughbred crossed with a Turkoman. At the minute he is a stallion, but I am considering gelding him. His only stall neighbour is Nikita, who's owned by Queasy. I'll talk about her in a second, and he has free space next to his stall. The only downside is that the back of his stall faces the main pathway that goes right through the ranch, and it does pick up quite a lot of foot traffic, so he does get a lot of noise during the day. However, I don't tend to keep him stalled for too long, so it isn't too much of a problem. Recently, we've been working a lot on our flat work, really getting the ground basics back down again, so that we can get into the groove of things. I've decided I want to get back into jumping with him, since he is actually really talented when he's paying attention to what we're doing. Queasy said that she'll help coach me a little bit, so I'm super excited for that. My goal is to really be able to push me and him, get out into the world and just do some new things to be able to give us that experience. Jericho's neighbour is the lovely Nikita, who is a 14-year-old Russian Arabian mare. She is owned by Queasy and has been for a very long time. Queasy and Nikita are pretty much an iconic pair, and she's very famous for her range of disciplines, from endurance riding all the way to driving. Nikita can definitely throw sass your way if she wants to, however I know deep down she's genuinely a sweet mare. I always like to joke that Jericho definitely has a crush on Nikita. But jokes aside, her and Jericho get on incredibly well, and it's really lovely to be able to go out on trail rides and not have to worry about having two horses that absolutely hate each other. Nikita's other neighbour is Gizmo, who is a 7-year-old mixed breed. If I'm being honest, we have absolutely no idea what breed Gizmo is, but I'm convinced he's part draft horse just because his hooves are massive. Gizmo is a very sweet-natured horse, however he was very green when he first came to us. Queasy bought him a while back as a project, but after working with him tirelessly over the last year and a half, she's decided that for the foreseeable future, she is going to be keeping him. I will say one thing about him, he may be beautiful, but he has the weirdest gait in the trot, and I've almost fallen off him multiple times because it is so strange to get onto. Right here is the, I would say, main entrance to the stables. Well, at least it's the one that we use all the time. And it's actually really nice because it's almost like a separation between the stalls. We've got Jericho, Nikita and Gizmo all together in their own little private section, separated from the rest of the stables over to the left. Over on the other side of the gate, there are just 2 lone stalls and only one of them is occupied at the minute. I'll show you the inside of the stalls so that you have a better idea of what they look like and how big they are. The stall size isn't massive, and if you have a bigger horse, perhaps a draft, these wouldn't be ideal for you. All of the stalls come equipped with a water trough and a feeding trough that gets cleaned very regularly. As you can see, there is gaps in the board to let some of the light and the air flow through, which is really great for circulation. Now over here, all on his lonesome, is Steve. Steve is a really pretty Mustang. I think he's about 6 years old, but I'm not sure. I know his owner is a regular participant of the Mustang Makeover and similar training competitions, and I know Steve was one of the winners of one of the years. I don't know which one though. He is absolutely beautiful and honestly is a big sweetheart. I can't lie, I have given him cuddles from over the stall door before and he's absolutely adorable. So that is it for this side of the stables. Over here is the tack room, which I showed you guys before. And over here on this side of the stables is Patch. He is a 15-year-old American paint horse and he's classically the lesson horse. If you book a lesson over here and you don't have a horse for your own, you're probably going to be riding Patch. I've ridden him a few times and he is a very easy ride, so if you're very nervous around horses, Patch is your boy. Next to our sweetheart Patch, we've got Wanderlust, aka Wonder. I don't know the owners very well and I don't want to say too much, but Wanda isn't the best behaved. She can definitely get a bit sassy from time to time and she can be a little bit problematic for other horses. Next to Wanda we have Ben. Ben is a 17-year-old Dutch warmblood and he is again another sweetheart. He doesn't take too well to people he doesn't know, but once he kind of gets familiar with you, he can be a real cuddly teddy bear. So that is our 3 stalls there done. Now these stalls are separated by a gate here that leads onto the path that I was talking about earlier that cuts right round the back of the cabins, past the horses' field and back onto the main road by the main entrance. There is another vacant stall, bringing our vacancies of stalls up to 2. Now last but not least, in the very last stall, all the way away from everybody else, is Bon Vin. I believe, if my French isn't too bad, that means fine wine in French. Her nickname is Bonnie and she's an 8-year-old Andalusian who specialises in dressage, and let me tell you, when you see her and her owner do some dressage, it is the most wonderful and elegant thing I have ever seen in my life. I'm really hoping they'll give me a few lessons and let me record them because they are absolutely spectacular, plus her horse is beautiful. And those were the main stall stables. There are 10 stalls in total with only 2 vacant. The setup here at the ranch is absolutely perfect for me and Queasy, and not to mention they have this really big round pen that is absolutely perfect for warming up, riding in, training and even breaking greener horses. They also have a much larger section of the arena that runs all the way around the round pen that you can put some really nice jumps in, set up barrel racing course, anything that you need to really, as the size is absolutely perfect. Last but not least, I did want to show you guys the private paddock that me and Queasy are currently leasing. Here I am taking all 3 horses, that's Gizmo, Jericho and Nikita, out to the paddock for some grazing time. At this point, they know exactly where to go, and I don't even need a lead rope to take them just over the way, which is honestly so cool. I feel like a horse whisperer. This paddock is pretty huge for just the three of them, so it gives them loads of space to run around, and honestly we leave them turned out most of the time, as after doing some research we found the horses are happier and healthier turned out in a safe environment. Now, I've certainly made Macfarlane Ranch seem like the perfect place on earth, but I'm going to give you a little dash of reality. Despite the constant heat and dryness, occasionally Macfarlane Ranch is subject to a flash storm, and things get a little bit chaotic when that does happen. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. After looking at the rain footage, I knew I had to make some sort of montage, and I'm super happy with how it came out, so you get to see it too. Thank you again to these guys who are my top tier members. Again, if you like my work and you'd like to support me, the join button is down below. We are incredibly fortunate to be where we are at Macfarlane Ranch, and I am so excited to share more of my adventures and progress with you guys soon. So, I hope you guys enjoyed, stay positive, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!